All right, we're going to do some similar right triangles and how to set them up. So I'm going to start over here. And what we see is we see a big triangle. We have an altitude drop down in the middle of it, and it kind of gets split. So we see little triangle, medium-sized triangle, then we have the big triangle that the two triangles are inside of. How I solve these is I do them all the same way. If I see this, I'm going to initially draw three triangles that are facing the same direction and look all the same. So we'll start by doing this. And the reason why I do this is to organize myself, because the actual math in these problems is pretty simple. The math part's kind of easy. It's just setting up, making sure that we are ready and we have the correct information, so we're doing the correct math. So I draw three triangles that generally look alike. They're not perfect, but they generally look alike. And what I look for is the smallest triangle. So if I look at this, it is clear that this is the smallest triangle. This is clearly bigger. Now, I don't normally like using our eyes to judge if one's bigger than the other, especially on things that are very close, because we aren't sure. We should mathematically prove it. But here it's clear that this triangle is smaller than that triangle. So this is my smallest triangle, and it's to the right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label my first triangle with that little one. So I have B, O, C. B, O, C. So is that just that triangle? Now, if my little triangle is small and to the right, it's on the right side, right? So if it's on the right, that tells me that this point on the far left, the opposite, the A, is my tip or my peak of my other two triangles. So I have A and A. So my small triangle is on the right, and I labeled it, all right? And that tells me that the point on the far left, away from that triangle, small triangle, is my peak of my other two. So now we got to label that triangle. Well, we did the one small triangle. Now we should do the medium triangle. So here's the medium triangle. And if you look, this is the right angle. It's kind of tipped on the side. If we know this is the top, we should be lifting it up. So this is A to O, because O is my right angle, up to B. And then my last triangle is the biggest one, which is the one that houses the two small ones. A to B, because B is the right angle for the big triangles, A to B to C. So I just correctly labeled my three triangles for this one. Now I'm going to do this next problem and actually solve it. All right, now these small triangles on the left. So first thing I got to do, regardless, is draw my three triangles. Now, my small triangle is now on the left. And it's clear that this is smaller than that one. So I'm going to take this one, B to my right angle P to A. B, right angle P to A. And since my small triangle's on the left, a small triangle's on this side, that tells me on the right, that point is the peak of my other two triangles. So I'll put a C there and a C there. All right, so small triangle's on the left, the peak of the other two triangles is on my right. So now I did the small triangle, now I should do the medium one. That's the one that's just this part of it, right? So it's C to right angle P up to B. So C, P to B. Now, I have to use my other right angle, which is B, the big triangle, C to B to A. And now I have all three triangles successfully labeled. Now what I need to do is I need to plug in the information that I know. I know that AP is 5. So wherever I see AP, I write 5. I know that PC is 8. Okay. I also know, right, if I know that this piece is 5 and this piece is 8, the whole piece, 13. So I know that A to C is 13. If I need it, I don't know. And then it tells me that B to C is X. All right. So I labeled all the information I know, and I labeled the triangle. Now what we see is that these two triangles, oh, I lost my camera. I do believe it's still recording though, right? Okay. So what we see is that we have a height, hypotenuse, height, hypotenuse. This one we just have a base, and we have nothing that corresponds with our other two triangles with the base. So we're actually not even going to use this one. But we didn't know that to start. So we had to draw it. We don't know which of the three. We need two of the three. We don't know which ones we're going to use until we actually set them up. So now that I have height and hypotenuse, I'm going to write a proportion. So I'm going to start with my triangle over here. And we have a height of the small one here is 8 over the hypotenuse. So I add height to hypotenuse, and that's equal to, on my other triangle, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Height to hypotenuse. Height to hypotenuse. And now we just cross multiply. Is that right? And now I just need to square root both sides. X equals the square root of 104. If they need a decimal answer, we just use a calculator to get it. So what I did is I took my original triangles and I had to draw 3 of them, right? Because there's 3 triangles within this big one. The small triangle was on the left, and I went ahead and I labeled it first. Since the small triangle was on the left, the point to the far right became my peak of my other 2, and then I just filled in the rest of it. If my small triangle is on the right, I need to use the point to the left as my peak of my other 2 triangles. So identify your small triangle, write that one first. We should end up with 3 similar triangles. Just make sure we're organizing it correctly, labeling it correctly, and then the actual math ain't too bad.